It's about that time of day again, folks. Welcome back, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. My name is Joseph James. I'm from SchoolOfTrade.com, and I've got my colleague and fellow School of Trade graduate here, Marty Errico from TradersAudio.com. Marty's going to be providing us with pit analysis. And good morning to you. 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, we do our very unique and very powerful crude oil morning prep. We're going from the screen here in Los Angeles all the way to the trading floor on the NYMEX exchange in New York City this morning. We're going to start here in Los Angeles, California. My name is Joseph James. I run a live trade room at SchoolOfTrade.com. Come out and see us Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll give you some contact information later on in the call today. I'm a technical analyst, which means I'm looking at charts, right? I'm focused on charts, reading price action. We're going to listen to Marty talk about his pit analysis in just a few moments, but I'm going to be talking about charts here first. I'm going to use a top-down approach, which means I'm going to start with a slower chart, right, an anchor chart time frame. I'll move down to looking at what's happened overnight, analyzing the London session. I'll move on to anticipating direction at the open. If I can anticipate the direction at the open this morning, I know that I can find those high percentage trading opportunities. It's pretty simple, guys. I'm going to look at what happened over the past few weeks, what happened over the past few hours. Based on what I see the past few weeks and what's happened in the past few hours, the past tends to predict the future. I will anticipate the direction at the open. Once I know what direction we should be going in at the open, I then can identify major support and major resistance levels that I can use for high percentage opportunities. If we combine the right direction with the right price levels, we can look for excellent opportunities this morning. I'll be looking for these trades starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. As soon as I see the patterns develop, I'll be looking to take those trades this morning. Now, once I'm done with you, I'm going to toss it all the way across the country to the NYMEX exchange, where I've got my partner Marty Errico here from Traders Audio. He's going to be talking about giving us some pit analysis this morning. Now, don't forget, Marty's got his broadcast every morning at 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time. Don't forget to log in and listen to him and his partner, Jeffrey. They do a great job broadcasting live from the NYMEX exchange, crude oil, natural gas, and everything in between. And, of course, Marty this morning providing us with his pit analysis. We're looking at market direction, intermarket divergence, market internals, option prices, and those very important and oftentimes elusive those pit session trading levels. Remember, kiddos, if you're following along at home, the levels that I'm using on my screen will be a little bit different than the levels we see Marty looking at on the trading floor. So always excited to hear what Marty's seeing on the trading floor. Oftentimes, it will be very different than what I'm seeing on my charts. Let's jump right into it. Moving right in here now, first of all, we'll grab a look at our news here. Now, every morning we do a formal morning prep in our live trade room. Okay, members of our live trade room, we have a formal morning prep each morning. You can grab the morning prep right there. I'm going to go over to the Crude Oil Squawk blog. We've got all of our crude oil charts posted here right on the blog at sidewaysmarkets.com. And so we head over to the Crude Oil Squawk blog and we look right away at today's news. I'll look at today's news here because I want to plan my day. I want to anticipate things before they happen. Now, what's not on this news worksheet is what we saw yesterday evening. I'll let Marty talk a little bit more about this, but we saw the 6th consecutive draw last night in the API report. In the API report, we saw the 6th consecutive week of a draw. That means lower inventories. Lower inventories means less supply available in the market. Today we'll be looking at the crude oil inventories coming out at 10:30 this morning. This means that we already have a bullish, I would assume, a bullish tone to the market based on what we saw from the news late in the session yesterday, 4:30 Eastern Time yesterday afternoon. This morning we come in and we know we've got a red news day, right? Remember what happened yesterday? Yesterday was a no red star news day. And remember what the price action looked like yesterday? Very sloppy, very slippery, relatively quiet. Right, this is a classic case yesterday of a summertime no red news star no red news event of the day yesterday. So without any major news yesterday, we saw price just kind of sit there, right, back and forth. Now this morning we've got a big red star news event at 10 o'clock this morning. New home sales. New home sales The housing market's been on a tear lately, but over the past few reports, it has shown some pullbacks, and so we're anxious to see what's going to be coming out at 10 o'clock this morning. We've got manufacturing here starting us off at 9 o'clock, just before we have the opening bell on the NYMEX exchange. So that will be an important news event for crude oil traders this morning. New home sales is that red star event, which means we've got to be excited about that event today. And then we got 10:30 inventories. At 10:30 this morning, just want to remind you guys, I'll be sitting on my hands from 10:15 until 10:45 a.m. Eastern time this morning around that news event. So we have a little bit of a vacation from crude oil for about a half an hour as we wait for price to lead up to the event and then figure out where it's going to go after the event occurs. Now, this is one of the biggest mistakes that we make every week trading crude oil inventories, trying to get in too early after the news event comes out. Write this down, guys. Resist the temptation to jump into that event right at 10:30, 10:35. Oftentimes it appears that we know exactly what's going to happen, but it's just a little bit too early. So make sure you wait. If you're going to be trading after 10:30 this morning, wait until about 10:40, 10:45. As I always say, it's important to let this market get all the jitters out of it. Then it will find its direction. You're not going to make any more money being the first person into that move, right? We can make just as much money getting in a little bit later once we start to find direction after that 10:30 news. So we can see here we've got news affecting crude oil at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 10:30 today. Very important there. Now, looking at some charts here. I first want to begin with the 4-hour. Now, ultimately, the 4-hour really could be all we need today. This 4-hour is going to tell us pretty much everything we need to know this morning about day trading crude oil today. Now, swing traders, we'll keep that to another topic. But for intraday traders, we can see this very, very obvious sideways trading range. Did a great job moving all the way up to 108.93, just shy of that 109. We've got a low of the range at 104.08. I got a high of the range at 108.93. You can see I've also marked up trigger zone resistance above, trigger zone support below, and of course we have this very narrow price wedge to look forward to. Guys, what is this telling us? First of all, it's telling us sideways range, buy lows, sell highs. Where are my lows? My lows are down at the lows of the wedge. Where are my highs? You got it, up at the highs of the wedge. I've got the highs up top here at the highs of the range, the lows of the range. I don't care whether I'm at the highs of the wedge or the highs of the range. I'm looking to sell at highs. At resistance, I sell. At support, I buy. Can't get much simpler than that. The key is going to be using the correct entry pattern, and that's, of course, what we do every morning in our live trade room. So as we go to the lows, I'm looking for my two-step pattern long. I'm looking for specific criteria to get into that trade long, and, of course, vice versa, the highs. Moving forward, if price does happen to find its way above 108.93, I'm buying pullbacks. If price does find itself below 104.08, wave pattern short. You've got a target buy zone here around that 103 even, so use that level, right? Use that 103 even area as a good target for your sells. The big important thing, though, right now is until we get something different, until this market personality changes, we are very concerned about fake out breakouts. Price will make a new higher high just to collapse and come back down in. Price makes a new lower low just to reverse and come right back up. Sideways ranges, two-sided trading, price wedge, I don't care how you look at it. We're expecting fake out breakouts. We're expecting two-sided trading. I'm also expecting this on a faster time frame to look very, very concerning. So let's see what this looks like on a faster time frame now. Move from a 4-hour now to a 1-hour. Now, a 4-hour is pretty much the slowest time frame you need to look at as a day trader. As a swing trader or position trader, you can go a little bit slower. Now on this 60-minute chart, and ooh boy, not looking pretty. We can see we've got a very narrow range right in the middle of that price wedge. Guys, what does the price wedge tell us to do? Buy the lows, sell the highs, and don't fiddle with that middle, JJ. Stay away from the middle. Right? We have all these little sayings that we use, and one of them is don't fiddle with that middle. Don't play around in the center of the range. Where are we right now? I'm right dead smack in the middle of that price wedge. that tells me that anything I see right now on crude oil until I get to the highs or the lows will be considered higher risk. So we have higher risk market personality that we expect right in the middle of this range. As I said earlier, I would love to buy the lows. I would love to sell the highs, but we got to get there. Now, we can also expect if price does break above 107.55 or below 106.87, we are going to get some selling opportunities lower and some buying opportunities higher. But as you can see, that all depends on how quickly this thing breaks out. Imagine now we break out right away. I've got room to go, right? If we broke out right now, I'd have room to go. But if this price lollygags around and hangs out, right, and then decides to go, now we don't have any room. So remember, if this thing goes now, we've got some room to buy above the 107.55 or sell below the 106.87. Just keep in mind, though, the high percentage trades are not buying up to the highs or selling down to the lows. The high percentage trade is waiting for it to test the lows and then buy at the lows. Okay, far too many times we try to force those trades, and what ends up happening is we get that fake out breakout and price comes right back into the middle. So remember, resist the temptation unless we've got some strong market personality, and we better have enough room to get there. The last thing I want to do is be banging my head against the wall trying to force a short or force a long. All right, I'm looking to buy the lows and sell the highs until something changes dramatically in this market personality. Now, what could possibly change the personality? Oh, I don't know. Crude oil inventories today at 10:30. New home sales at 10 o'clock, or was it pending home sales at 10 o'clock? We got a Red Star news event at 10 a.m. this morning. Manufacturing number at 9 o'clock this morning. There are 3 news events that I can think of the top of my head that could easily change this market's personality. Once we find the change in personality, once we start getting some new higher highs and new lower lows, that's when we're going to see the meat and potatoes today. That's when we're going to get the high percentage trades this morning. One more time frame down. Let's now look at the slowest of all of my entry charts. And yikes, this does not look any better, guys. This does not look any better. We can see there is that bullish tone to the market. Remember, we talked about this earlier. We had the API news number that came out yesterday evening at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It showed us the 6th consecutive week of draws and inventories, which we speculated last night in the group chat room that it would lead to higher prices. We've seen higher prices here overnight. Very dramatic sideways range. Very easy to see the time is definitely on our side right now. I would stay patient. I'd be very, very careful right now. Big wicks at the tops, big wicks at the bottoms. You can see the cloud here. We got the change in the trend back here from bearish to bullish. The cloud now has turned into this very narrow cloud. This is just screaming at us to be very careful. Now, do we have any scalpers out there? We do a lot of order flow analysis. We do a lot of tape reading in our live trade room. Tape reading is a very important part of any trader's career. If you are an experienced tape reader, don't be afraid to buy those lows and sell those highs. I say experienced because that's really what it takes. Reading tape does require a little experience. So what we'll be looking for is watching that volume ladder as we approach the lows. Are we seeing stops being run but no continuation? If we don't see continuation, we'll buy those lows. Same thing to the highs. We're going to start seeing some stops being run at the highs, but if we don't see continuation from those buyers on the volume ladder, we're going to look for the reversal and sell those highs. Same thing goes for our trigger zones. All of my members out there know we have 2 trigger zones. Look for the trigger zone number 1 overhead. Look for the trigger zone number 2 overhead as resistance, and look for the trigger zone number 2 below as support. So keep that in mind, guys. If you've got some experience, as a scalper reading tape, you can buy those lows and sell those highs. If you're a brand new trader or if you're still mastering the tape reading stuff, I completely understand. That's why I'm going to recommend we see new lower lows to get short, new higher highs to be buying pullbacks and getting long. Now, this is just one lonely old day trader's opinion, guys. I'm seeing two-sided trading. right in the middle of that, right smack dab in the middle of that 60-minute chart. So I'm thinking we're going to stay patient this morning. From what it looks like right now, this market just might be waiting for some 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or 10:30 a.m. news. But I'm really anxious to hear what's happening on the floor right now. So we're going to kick it all the way from Los Angeles. We're going to go over to the NYMEX exchange. And I'm anxious to hear, Marty, how you doing this morning? Happy hump day to you. Are we seeing the same quiet personality? Do you think, is it this quiet on the floor right now as I'm seeing the charts?
Well, yeah. Well, looking forward to the opening right now in just about a little over than an hour. We're seeing sideways activity, right? And that, you're exactly right. As soon as we get that number, we'll possibly break out of that wedge, right? We're going to see either higher or lower prices right off the bat. So looking at last night's, again, the story of the night last night, we have right here for you guys these numbers, right? So I got your crude oil inventory numbers up here. We had our Bob heating oil also show some bullish numbers. So let's start off by taking a look here at your crude numbers, right? We have a draw, end up getting a nice draw in inventories for your crude. So commercial crude shows a draw of about 1.4 million. Cushing shows a draw of about 2.1 million, right? These are all negative numbers draws. Gasoline shows a draw of just a touch under 1,889,000, and your distillates show a draw of 710,000 barrels. So overall, that's what we're looking at. You know, we want to definitely take a look at also our API numbers tonight, right? I mean, sorry, the DOE EIA numbers. Forecast for the EIA DOE numbers. Give me 1 second. Forecasts that we're looking at here are going to be for your crude. This is for today's number, right? That's going to be released in a few hours. Today's numbers, we're looking for a draw on crude of about 2.5 million. So, right, we get a draw greater than 2.5 million. So we get like a 3 million barrel draw. We get a 3.1 million barrel draw. That will be very bullish for us, right? So we're looking for a draw greater than 2.5 million in the crude number. That would be bullish for us. Any type of build or anything above that negative 2.5 million will be a little bearish. But overall, we're looking for draws. All right, gasoline, we're looking for just really kind of 1 million, you can call it. I'm safe to say 1 million. And for distillates, we're looking for 1.9 million. So again, if we get anything close to what this API number was last night, right, that will be very bullish for our crude, and we're going to continue to watch price activity kind of trade higher. So it's important to keep an eye on this. Again, we have almost our leading indication from the APIs here, and obviously we have our DOE forecast, and this is what Platts, this is what they're calling for, Platts. But again, overall, nice little draws here in the commercial crude, in the Cushing, in the gasoline, and in the distillate. So let's talk about market reaction to these numbers here. So market reaction to the numbers here have been quite bullish here over the last overnight session. Again, a little bullish to sideways overall. You can see right now, as JJ was mentioning here, we're pretty caught up in a little bit of a sideways wedge, right? We see that same exact wedge also on our shorter time frame, right? Looking at the shorter time frame, you can see the wedge. Most importantly, I just kind of want to point out a couple things here first before we kind of rock and roll on. So today, it's definitely going to be sideways. It's definitely going to be a little bit of choppiness right now. But overall, the highest percentage traders JJ was talking about is going to be buying these lows. So we'd like to get back down to those 105, right, 97s, right? We'd like to get back down to the low day yesterday, right? And we would like to buy that. But overall, right now, we're going to be chopping just a bit, and I can predict and I can most likely see here that we're going to be chopping pretty much sideways, right, in between range, and then most likely break out in either direction to the upside or to the downside, right? So let's real quickly look at some levels, and then we'll kind of proceed on. So that's basically our deal for the crude. Let me show you guys the other suspects, then we'll take a look at those levels, I should really say. So right now we look at RBOB, we look at heating oil, we look at the crude, and we kind of look at Brent, and you can see we're kind of sideways across the board, a little bit higher today on the net change basis, but overall sort of sideways. That's why I have our sideways arrows up today. But right now, looking at your Brent crude, you can see Brent's here in the overnight session for the European session. Again, we had a nice little sideways range to higher. Again, we hit the 108 earlier. We hit about 108.20 in the Brent, and then we kind of backed off, now trading around 107.90, just below the 108. If you look at the Brent WTI spread, that's very bullish this morning, right? about 60 cents on the spread. We're in contango quite significantly on that spread. So overall, we're looking bullish on the Brent to WTI spread. Again, that led us higher yesterday. We're also taking a look, ladies and gentlemen, at your calendar spreads, and they're all very bullish at the moment as well. I'm looking at now your SEPBOX, SEPNOVI, and SEPDECE calendar spreads, and they are all in contango this morning here by about 5 to 10 cents. Again, I got about 146 on that SEPBOX spread. I got about 302 on the SEPNOVI, and the SEPDECE is giving us about 450. So overall, kind of bullish on our calendar spreads. Looking now over at, let me just give you guys RBOB heating oil prices. We're looking at SEP RBOB and SEP heating oil. Again, they're both basically pretty much sideways to slightly unchanged. Now remember, they both got draws in their inventory numbers, so we did see a little bit of a net change to the upside on the RBOB here. I got about 302.75 and 306 even on your RBOB and heating oil. And as I mentioned, that Brent just trading right below the 108 at 107.90. Alrighty, guys, let's rock and roll and continue on. Take a look at that dollar index here. The dollar has been showing us actually just a little bit of strength today. But overall, if you look at the chart of the DX here and you look at the chart of the dollar, you can see it's slightly sideways to slightly lower, which would be bullish for crude. So overall here, lower on the dollar this morning after taking a look at a net change standpoint, right? So off the lows on the dollar. Euro is kind of showing us a similar type of sideways activity. So again, we're waiting for something, and that something is the news. So that's why we are so sideways, but with a little bit of a bullish tone to it, if you will, right? We're going to try to go down and buy these lows. So again, we may get a little bit of a downtick, right? So I don't think that's the end of the world. We get a little bit of a downtick, so we're going to try to buy the lows. We're sideways at the moment, very thin at the moment. Alrighty, guys, so let's continue on and take a look at this natural gas, and then we'll rock and roll over to levels. Natural gas. Yesterday, I was just talking to JJ before the call, and we were talking about there was a platform explosion and fire over the coast, off the coast of Louisiana. So this was something that we kind of wanted to keep an eye on throughout yesterday, and it did push prices up. But you can see now pretty much hitting off that 375 level, we started to see now markets start to trade a little bit lower. But overall, you can see we're in this wedge, right? Into the wedge. Now we bought the low of the wedge 2 times yesterday, right? Was able to get the halfway back from Thursday's big move down, right? We got the halfway back into 375. Now we ended up selling these 375s, and we're probably going to tick lower back down to our support and then look to buy the lows of the support. So again, we're going to tick lower, try to buy the lows of the support. The only factors that are really moving this market are weather at the moment, again, weather, and we're going to be waiting for the inventories tomorrow to move the market. So overall, we'll probably see a little bit of a sideways type of trading range, get down there, buy up those lows, and then we'll probably watch it just consolidate in anticipation of numbers tomorrow. And as I mentioned, really the only thing that's driving this market is weather. Now, we do have a tropical depression forming off the coast of Africa right now that could potentially become a tropical storm and even a hurricane that might go into Florida or even into the Gulf Coast, where we have a lot of natural gas crude oil refineries. So again, we're going to be watching that tropical depression. It just basically formed off just a few hours ago off the coast of Africa. So as I was speaking to my weather analyst here, guys, on the trading floor, he was talking about the fact that this could become something. So we're going to be watching the potential for that. That can always be a market mover and riser. But overall, in the natural gas, we're looking to get down to those 365s. We're looking to get back down to those 360s and buy those lows. I'll say 365 first, and then we'll see what happens around there. So continuing on now, we are going to take a quick look at some levels here as we just look at all of our suspects this morning, and they're all giving us just a little bit of a bullish type sentiment here at the moment. Again, but we have to wait to see the numbers, right? We have to wait to see for the numbers. Alrighty, guys, let's take a look here now at your levels. Again, we're going to be looking back at levels from yesterday here, and we're going to look at your daily pivots now. Guys, pit session high from yesterday's trade. Again, that is yesterday's trade pit session high. I have 107.34. It's funny, 107.33 was the daily pivot yesterday, and it held some nice resistance. And again, we called that out in the morning when we were talking about the crude. We said, hey guys, this is going to be a nice level of resistance up above. It could be a potential target as well, as that's usually what a daily pivot's used for. And we saw that that was the daily pivot from yesterday. So 107.34, the high from yesterday in daily pivot. I got your low from yesterday, the 105.92, and again, we called that level as a level of support that we wanted to keep an eye on, so we ended up buying those lows yesterday and trading back up towards the higher end of the range. So your pit session high from yesterday, 107.34, low 105.92, closed the settlement number up near the highs at 107.34. 23. Once again, that's 107.23, your closing settlement number from yesterday's trade, just 10 ticks below that daily pivot. All right, guys, daily pivot today is going to be 106.83. Once again, that's 106.83 with some resistance up above at 107.74. I got 108.28, 109.67, and that 110.23 I always want to keep an eye on. Support down below, what we have for you guys is going to be 106.32. I got 105.44 and 104.08. Keep in mind, guys, right, we do have that pit session low from yesterday, the 105.92. It's in between the S1 and S2, so we could be using that as a level of support as well, which is going to be the bottom of the range. Again, we're going to be really relying on that pit session low from yesterday, the 105.92. If we happen to get back down there, that is a good buying opportunity. Again, it's yet another day. The market comes back down, and we start to see that we get bullish around this 106, 105 level, and 105.5, 106 level, and the market doesn't really want to push lower from there, so you can see, unless we get something that will push us lower, like a variable like bad number, or just continuation of supply disruptions, or builds in supply, and just continuation of any type of news that would make us bearish. So right now we're still going to give the benefit of the doubt to the bulls, and we're still going to try to really see if we can still trade within range. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you will take a quick look with me here, open interest currently stands at 395,934 as we just have a little bit of a tick up in open interest, indicating some shorts could be in the market here. We're looking at volatility holding steady around 23% again, as we are down just about 2 vols on the week overall, but still kind of firm here on volatility. The OVX still holding levels around the $24 level. In the pit, we've been seeing just really increased activity here, guys. Again, a little bit of paper buying at the bell on the closing bell yesterday, but really kind of just two-sided trading for the most part, as we have been continuing to watch. Really kind of a little bit of profit-taking mode and the buy the dip, sell the rip type of mentality here. Natural gas here, we have your pit sessions from yesterday. We're still in the Augie contract. We'll probably be rolling over by tomorrow, I'm thinking. So again, tomorrow we're going to be looking for a little bit of a roll here, guys. So overall, we will be keeping an eye on your roll activity here, guys, for tomorrow, right? So we have the expiration Monday. We'll be rolling tomorrow. Natural gas pit session high, 376.20. Low, 368.20. Close and settlement number 374.20. Daily pivot today, 372.90 with resistance up above at 377.60, 380.90, and 388.90. Support down below, I got for you guys 364.90, right? 364.90. I also have for you guys 356.90. And then we can also actually even use that 375 as some support. Again, I'm talking 375 as some, 365 as some support as well. So 365, 349.90, which is also almost like the 365. And then we also have 356.90. So man, I'm going to be really interested in that 365 level, as that's almost 2 levels of support there. So overall open interest 298,860, giving us a little bit of an indication that there are some net short positions in the market, and also that we could be seeing just a little bit of activity here to the downside here to buy the low of that range. Again, crude right now starting to make a little bit of a move down towards the lower end of the range, so that is going to work out exactly as we're talking about. So, alrighty guys, that's about it for me. Again, we'll throw it back over to JJ in Los Angeles here once again on a Wednesday. Again, waiting here, guys, hump day for those numbers. There you guys go. Those are the expectations for the numbers right there on the right. Alrighty, guys.
Thank you, Marty.
See you guys in just about 50 minutes.
As always, great job out there, Marty. I've got all of the crude numbers that Marty was referring to posted for you guys on our blog once again. So if you head on over to the Crude Oil Squawk blog, you will see the brand new updated numbers there that Marty was so kind enough to provide us with. So head on over to the blog, sidewaysmarkets.com. You can grab the link there right at the top, the Crude Oil Squawk and Prep. And again, head on over and you'll see all of the charts that we have for today. As always, we appreciate your feedback. If you got anything you'd like to see added, anything you'd like to see removed, would you like maybe me to tell some more corny trading jokes? What would you like to see in this broadcast? We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to drop me an email. I'm JJ at School of Trade. That was Marty at tradersaudio.com. Drop us an email. Give us your feedback. Get with Marty. Listen in to his broadcast every morning at 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time, and come out and see me sometime. I offer a free trial at SchoolOfTrade.com. Check it on out. This has been another edition of our Crude Oil Morning Prep. 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. We are on a 23-hour and 30-minute break. We'll see you guys here for a Thursday edition of our Crude Oil Morning Prep. Don't forget about the news today, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 10:30 a.m. We've already got our plan put together for Crude. Are you ready for it? Hope you guys learned a little bit. Now it's time to earn a little bit this morning. Have a great day out there. We'll see you tomorrow. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.